You're watching Missouri Western Television. This month on Western Reports, we're giving you an inside look at how the Chiefs training camp has impacted St. Joseph's economy. We pay tribute to area veterans, and we see how students at Western are learning about diversity. Stay tuned for these stories and more on this December edition of Western Reports. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mallory Edson. The Chiefs training camp took place on the Missouri Western campus this year, and many have wondered how this would affect the community of St. Joseph. Here is Dan Nixon with a look at how the Chiefs may have altered our economy.
The Economic Impact Report was a report that we commissioned from Dr. McMurray in the Economics Department to try to measure the impact on our community of having the Kansas City Chiefs training camp in St. Joseph. The report told us that the economic impact of the Chiefs camp on the local community after the first year was approximately $20 to $21 million. The way that works is they measure how much people spent, and then they use certain multipliers because money changes hands more than once in the community and all. He came up with quite a range, but said based on his experience, it would definitely be at the top of that range, where sometimes in other studies he couldn't say that. I think we can learn several things from the report as far as how we plan for next year. We know a little bit more now about how people spent their money. We know a little bit more now about who came to the camp. We know, for example, that the people that attended the camp were pretty evenly split between local residents and visitors to the community. But we also know that about 65% of the visitors from outside the community were from the greater Kansas City area. That's quite a bit different than some of the other camp locations where you might have more overnight guests and etc., and it means that we need to plan accordingly, not only on the economic impact and how we can maximize its benefit to the community, but also on traffic patterns and parking habits and things like that. The economic impact study was first of all, what's been released was labeled a preliminary study. It was a measurement primarily of what visitors from outside the community spend. Since that time, we've added more information about what local employees at the camp were paid. We've learned more about what the Chiefs spent here in the community themselves. The Chiefs spent over $200,000 in the community themselves. We know that employees earned well over $200,000, closer to $300,000 in wages and things like that, those that worked at the food court and so on. Those now can be put into the mix and have that multiplier effect as well. So that would increase. What we'd learned from the first camp was that a lot of the economic impact so far had come from the construction phase, which would be expected, and that about $1.2 million was the estimate for what the camp itself generated in local impact. Well, now with these other figures added, it would come out and we'd start approaching a $2 million impact as opposed to a $1.2 million impact of the camp itself. So those kinds of adjustments can be made in the report. The other thing that the report doesn't measure are the other types of benefit to our community. The whole attitude of our community about having the Chiefs camp here changed the psyche, if you will, of our community a lot. The national, state, and regional publicity that we got because we had the training camp here at Missouri Western, we couldn't afford all of that advertising. And it was not only very large in volume, but it was all of a praising nature of both the facilities and how well the camp was organized and those things. And like I said, we just could not have bought that type of exposure. So those kinds of things are hard to measure sometimes, but they will pay dividends. And as we look to the future camp, will next year's camp have more economic impact than this year's? I think that it will, because all that publicity will bring even more visitors and attention to the community. And we know a little bit more. Maybe we can try to adjust some practices to help increase the amount of business they do here in town.
We'll be right back.
Do you ever wonder what goes on in the arts community in St. Joseph? There's a lot to offer, and Missouri Western's newest show, Artbeat, will highlight the cultural community in St. Joe. We'll bring you theater, music, museums, art, activities for kids, and much, much more. I'm Stacy Park. Please join me for Artbeat on Missouri Western Television at the times you see here. You can also watch us on the web at missouriwestern.edu/artbeat.
We're back with your campus news update. This semester, the Center for Multicultural Education presented a weekly series on diversity in America. The What Does It Mean series focused on all types of American demographics.
Right now we have the What Does It Mean to Be series. It kind of emulates the Soledad O'Brien CNN's MSNBC special, What Does It Mean to Be? They have Black, they have Latino, as so do we. So far in the What Does It Mean to Be series, we've had Hispanic, Latino, Hispanic, we have Black, we had man and woman, we've had gay, we have international, next is Native American. What we do is really a panel discussion, but the audience can come in and say what they think and answer the questions also. We'll have a gay panel, all the members probably identify with that social group. So if you're Black, it's a panel of Black people with different aspects of life. For Black, we had a football coach, Reggie Trotter. We had Dr. Pettisclo. She's a professor in the Hyper department. We had 2 students, and we have some community members also. We just try to get everybody in that particular social group to voice their opinions, to say what that particular social identity means to them. Basically, we just want them to get an understanding that it's not necessarily what it seems. If oh my God, they're Black, so it's bad, or they're ghetto and they're loud. No, it could just be a state of mind. It could be just a persona. It could be anything. It's just thinking outside the box. Students have identity issues. You might be gay, but you don't want to say anything because you don't know how other people or your friends or people are going to react. You may be multiracial, and you don't know if you identify with your father who's Black or your mother who's white, and you don't know who you identify with. And we're having a lot of problems here on Western's campus about that. And somebody needs to help the students. We need to help the students so they can be more accepting. So when they go out and have their degrees and they're ready, they don't have that issue in the back of their mind, well, I don't know if I should sit with them or them. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's all in who you identify with, and you just have to be comfortable so you can identify with everybody.
Western's Community Education Forum, Eggs and Issues, featured State Senator Charlie Shields on November 8th. Shields spoke about his experiences and accomplishments in Congress over the past 20 years. He also spoke about Missouri's legislation system and his ideas for the future of Missouri and America.
There's the famous quote, Winston Churchill said, "Democracy is the worst form of government except for all others that have been tried." And that really is what, if you come watch Jefferson City, what it's all about. We operate in a bicameral system. There's only one state that doesn't, that's Nebraska, our neighbor to the north. But you look at the weaknesses of that system, it tends to be very short-sighted. You've heard me say before that state government is a $24 billion organization that doesn't have a vision statement, doesn't have a strategic plan. It operates year to year. So that clearly is one of the weaknesses. What we've seen lately in our process is that elections are susceptible to people that have large amounts of cash, and that is particularly true with ballot initiatives. Missouri has a very easy initiative petition process to get either referendums or constitutional amendments on the ballot, and then those are guided by folks that have large amounts of cash and put into it. So that is there. The last thing I would say, and my good friend Senator Klippenstein is getting ready to move from a body of 34, where he had experience, to a body of 163. One of the weaknesses probably is we have a very large House of Representatives. Missouri has 163 members on our House. There are advantages and disadvantages of that, but it sometimes makes it hard to get things done. So Senator Klippenstein will get to experience that. The strengths of our system, frankly, though, and this may be something that's frustrating people, we are slow to react, and that is not always a bad thing. In government, you want a thoughtful, deliberative process for that. And the other big strength, and the one I believe strongly in, is we are a true citizen legislature. We expect our legislators to go to Jefferson City 5 months out of the year, come back, live, and work in the communities they represent. That's what the founders of this country envisioned for Congress. Obviously, we're not there. Missouri is a true citizen legislature, and I believe that is one of our biggest strengths. If you want to be an elected official, that should not be your goal. Okay? You want to be a public servant. So what I tell people, nothing against political science majors, things like that, but if you look at the legislature, the vast majority are people that have served in their communities. They're the people that have been in the Rotary Club, been in the Lions Club, served on their school board, came up through municipal government. The first goal should be to be active in your community and then figure out how to run for office. But your goal should not be to run for office. I mean, and I've told that to so many young people, because I get all these high schoolers that say, should I major in political science and all that? I said, it doesn't make any difference what you major in. I said, what is important is what you do in your community, of why people want to elect you, not that you just want to get elected.
Governor Nixon spoke at Western Science and Technology Incubator, announcing an agreement with the USDA. Here's what the governor had to say.
Welcome to the Kit Bond Science and Technology Incubator. I'm Bob Vertabedian. I have the pleasure of being the president of Missouri Western. We're very happy to be here today for a very important signing. We will be signing a USDA Rural Development Cooperative Agreement that Dr. Hagler and Governor Nixon will be talking more about later. We're extremely excited to say the least about this. Our university and our community are truly committed to the growing of the life sciences in this region, and we're particularly pleased to be making this announcement here in the Kit Bond Science and Technology Incubator. I suspect Senator Bond would be very proud as well.
It is difficult to overstate the importance of the livestock industry in the state of Missouri. Missouri farmers tend more than 4 million cattle and more than 3 million hogs, putting us 6th nationwide in production. Keeping those animals healthy is vital to a reliable food supply for generations to come. There's an estimated shortage of 1,500 large animal veterinarians nationwide. Think of that gap. I mean, we have got to make sure that we've got the human capital to meet the needs of the future on research, on production, on food safety, on all fronts. We need 1,500 large animal veterinarians. We need 1,500 folks that have specialized training beyond their normal veterinary and med techs and whatnot, and this center is going to be the place where that process begins. The blueprint being laid out today is one we can address the shortage of veterinarians and techs needed for food production. And there is no more suitable place in the world than the Kansas City Animal Health Corridor to launch this unique approach to this pressing national issue. It sends a clear signal that Missouri is leading the nation in taking on the challenges of food and animal health, and that we are going to, with this state, embrace science, embrace technology, embrace the future, compete, feed, and sell our products around the world. But today, with this big step forward, this first big step forward, as many of the top experts in animal health science from both business and economics will come together to develop a business plan for training more food animal health professionals. The next few years will be exciting as this blueprint takes shape. There's been a lot to focus on in our approach to agriculture, our Think Outside the Barn plan. This plan will do just that. We're not taking it the way we found it. We're going to take it and make it better. And bringing together the top minds in animal health to develop a plan for producing highly trained, in-demand professionals, and at the same time ensure the continued reliability of our food supply. I'm very proud we can team up with these other states, particularly their schools of veterinary medicine, to address this issue in such an innovative way. That spirit of cooperation And I thank our partners from Nebraska, Louisiana, USDA. But that cooperation and teamwork is what will help us meet the demand for large animal veterinarians and veterinary technicians in the future. I'm prouder still that Missouri and the Kansas City Animal Health Corridor is the appropriate fulcrum for this undertaking.
Veterans were honored at Western this month with a Veterans Day tribute at 11 a.m. on November 11th in Blum Student Union.
The helmet and identification tags signify the fallen soldier. The inverted rifle with bayonet signals a time for prayer, a break in the action to pay tribute to our comrades. The combat boots represent the final march of the last battle. The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their intentions to respond to their country's call to arms, so that their children could remain free. The lone candle symbolizes the frailty of a prisoner alone, trying to stand up against his oppressors. The single rose reminds us of the loved ones and families of our comrades in arms who keep the faith and await their return. A slice of lemon is on the bread plate to remind us of their bitter fate if we do not bring them home. The salt on the plate is symbolic of the family's tears as they wait and remember. The glass is inverted. They cannot toast with us today. Maybe tomorrow. The red, white, and blue ribbons are tied to the flower vase by a yellow ribbon that was worn by thousands who await their return. Remember those whom we depended on in battle. They depend on us to bring them home. Please honor and remember them.
Today's ceremony was organized by the Student Veterans Organization here in Missouri Western, and they asked the ROTC program to participate with a color guard and a guest speaker. It's customary on Veterans Day to hold a Veterans Day ceremony at 11 o'clock on Veterans Day, and that's the reason that we had the ceremony when we did. And it was our way of remembering the contributions of all the veterans before us, as well as recognizing those of us that currently serve in uniform. Well, I see that the ROTC program is the link between our current veterans and our future generations that are dedicated to defending our nation's freedoms. Individuals in the ROTC program have committed themselves to obtaining a commission upon their graduation. And so though they're currently, not all of them, some of them are in the National Guard of the Reserves, but though they're not currently serving in the military, they have already obligated themselves and committed themselves to serve in the future. So they may not necessarily be veterans now, they will be our veterans in generations to come. Our university here has fantastic support for our ROTC program, and it's just my appreciation to all of them, not just on Veterans Day, but every day whenever we come asking for assistance or participating in something. Missouri Western is extremely supportive, and we truly appreciate that.
Missouri Western's Police Academy was trained this month to assist in Heartland Health emergencies. The Academy is located at Western's Downtown University Center, which was recently awarded an anonymous grant that allowed it to stay open in our harsh economic times. Here's a look at the police training and why keeping the center open is important for Western.
Well, today's the Police Academy is having the first responder training, and part of that training involves bringing in the helicopter so they can be familiar with the process of utilizing the helicopter in case of emergency. For example, if it's an accident or something where they have to bring it in, there's certain security protocol that have to be met, and so in order to do that, we try to provide them some training on what to expect and how to do that. The Law Enforcement Academy, we have basically two academies right now. We have a full-time academy for people that can go full-time. It runs for approximately 6 months. The next class will start in January and end in June. This class will end this December. It is a Class A certification, so it will allow people to work for most of the agencies in the state of Missouri and also some of the surrounding states. The part-time academy is for people who can't afford to quit their jobs and need to just go on a part-time basis. It lasts for a year, and it goes Monday, Tuesday, Thursday evenings from 5:30 to 10 and Saturday 8 to 5. And both the part-time academy and the full-time academy, the next classes will start in January. If anybody's interested in going to the academy, they can call us at area code 816-271-5842, and we'd be more happy to talk to them about getting in the academy.
Congratulations to the Griffon football team for making their way into playoffs. Here's Ryan Mentley with a sports update.
A close loss to a bitter rival. That's how Missouri Western football ended its 2010 campaign, but the Griffons found redemption, made the playoffs, and ended with their heads held high. All that didn't seem possible a month earlier. After a dynamic 4-0 start, Western stumbled at Northwest in the regular season, falling 42-0 on October 2nd.
It was a huge game. We were definitely a little nervous about it afterwards, that we got beat like that. Yeah, I mean, I think it did kind of take the wind out of our sails a little bit.
They would then lose 3 of 4. A shocking loss at last place Missouri Southern could have been the nail in the coffin of what could have been a disappointing season. Instead, Western fought back.
Gonna scramble for the end zone. Adam Clausen goes down low to make the catch, and they give it to him. Touchdown, Missouri Western.
The Griffons pounded out dominating and thrilling wins in the final 3 weeks of the season and were back in playoff contention.
Yeah, that's the tough part. I think that's going to be tougher than the actual game for me because I really want to get in.
These kids deserve to go. And we're playing at a high level right now, and Joplin, not excluded. We're playing really well right now, and we deserve to be in it. We're a dangerous animal when we get in.
It was a waiting game on Selection Sunday, but worth the wait.
The biggest thing we can do is just get into the playoffs, because then anything can happen.
Just let us say it's like when the Yankees were up 3-0 and Boston said, get us to Game 7 and anything can happen. Just get us in the playoffs, anything can happen.
The Griffons were back in the NCAA playoffs for the second time in school history, and this brought another date with Northwest.
So this time I just think you have to take the approach that let's go have fun, see if we can play our best and see what happens.
We do get another shot at them. With that said, though, they did beat us 42-0. So we're not expected to win, and hopefully we just go out there and, like I said, compete better.
Western went back to Maryville with nothing to lose and played like it. There was no blowout this day. The Griffons dominated the first half and took a 17-0 lead to halftime on the defending national champs.
We had our chances to really knock them through the ropes in the first half. We just didn't get it done.
But the Bearcats, who have made their living this season out of comeback victories, did just that. A touchdown in the final minutes sealed a 28-24 Northwest victory. Western would finish with an 8-4 record. Disappointing loss in one sense, but a successful and redeeming season in another. For Western Reports and Griffon Sports Insider, I'm Ryan Minley.
Our Alumni Spotlight this month is Will Stuck. Will is an active St. Joseph community member and works as the children's librarian for St. Joseph Public Libraries.
I actually graduated from Missouri Western in the winter 2000, the December 2000 graduating class, and I believe my official major was art theory and criticism. I was actually working at the library the week I graduated from high school. I started at the library just because it was a place I was comfortable with and familiar with. I always kind of went to the library growing up, and looked for a place that worked around my college schedule, and it seemed to work pretty good. And so I was here throughout my time at Missouri Western. And then shortly after I graduated, they offered me a little bit of a promotion working more at the circulation desk. And I did that. And within 2 years after that, they asked me if I wanted to be in charge of my own children's department. And so at that point, it's like, sure, why not? So kids are pretty cool. They make me laugh. And I'm one of those kind of, I think that's my motivation for stuff, is my whole life has been making people laugh. And so I love it when I read books to kids and I can hear them laughing and reacting to what I'm asking them to do, whether it's making animal sounds or, getting up and moving around and dancing and doing silly dances. And I think more adults should be like kids. People just take themselves too seriously. I really think the biggest thing is the enthusiasm for what I do. I still do a lot with art. I do a lot of freelance painting, like murals in churches and kids' rooms and things like that, and a lot of freelance art stuff here and there. And even here at the library, I have a very popular fall program for 6 to 12-year-olds, Art in the Library, where they learn a little art history and do some art stuff. So I like to think I'm using my degree in that respect and passing appreciation for art off to kids. But the enthusiasm of the instructors, when I actually look back at the time I spent at Western, I look at teachers like Allison Sauls and Gloria Owenroddy and the passion that they brought to every class, that even if it was a class when I first signed up I didn't think I would be interested in, was instantly sucked into whatever they were talking about because of their passion. And I could name 3 or 4 other teachers right off the top of my head without thinking, when I think passionate about their subject matter. And that's one of the things I like to bring to my programs at the library. If I'm reading books, I'm going to be excited because I want the kids to be excited about the books and reading. And whether it's storytelling or teaching the art class, or sometimes I do science programs for kids or reading books out loud. There's a few times a year I go out there and do different things. And every time I'm just blown away. It's like, wow, I don't remember it being like this. You know, it just has grown so much, and you know, I'm almost envious when I go out there sometimes. I'm like, oh man, I wish it was like this when I was here. Not that it was necessarily bad, but it's like, wow, these are really good facilities. So very impressed with the growth that's going on. And the effort that Missouri Western's making to be part of the community. It seems, maybe it's because I'm in a position now where I try to make all these community contacts, but it seems to me like Missouri Western's doing more to actually be part of St. Joseph rather than just the college or university now out on the far side of town. My favorite part, and I can only guess, I've got a lot of friends who are teachers, and I can only guess that it's the same feeling that they get when it clicks with a kid. I love being silly, and I love making kids laugh, and I love it when parents are excited to bring their kids to hear that. But you know, in my time here at the library, especially since I've been out here in charge of my own department, when that kid comes in that has never had an interest in reading before, and because I visited their school, or because they heard me read a story out in the community somewhere, and they come here to get a book, get their library card for the first time, just because of something I did, that's it. That's when it's like, wow, this is a good job. So making that kind of impact on kids' lives, and I'm fortunate enough, I actually see it a few times a month, whether it's that instance or somebody who comes in here who comes in and I have to read a book for school, and I actually take the time and talk to them and find out what kind of book they want, and then they become regular readers. So special, you know.
Here's your Money Minute with Matt Brock from Edward Jones.
Hello everyone. This month's Spotlight, we're going to be talking about an investment vehicle that's called an annuity. An annuity is a type of investment that is issued through an insurance company. An annuity is something that does provide us some beneficial features over a direct investment in just stock or mutual fund or bonds. What an annuity allows us to do, and is guaranteed by the claims paying ability of the company we work with, is that it gives us the option of being able to expect a set income return when we do retire and start to draw from the portfolio. Now, as always, the investments within an annuity can be subject to market volatility, but the insurance arm, or the insurance portion of the investment, is what allows the insurance company to say, regardless of current market value, we can set a standard to which we will pay you X% of income for a certain period of time or for your lifetime. There are a number of different structure types to annuities, some appropriate for all investors, some not so appropriate. So the key is to call us if you have any questions. I can be reached at 364-0614 or speak to your current financial advisor. Everyone, we'd like you to be aware that we do offer a monthly seminar at the East Hills Library here in St. Joseph in their theater, which is located on the lower level. Our meeting times are always from 5 to 6 p.m. The days are subject to change based on scheduling, and they normally will last about an hour. We do present pertinent and appropriate current investment topics and do open up the opportunity for question and answer if you have specific things you'd like some help with that perhaps we can build into a future seminar or presentation. Please call me at 816-364-0614 if you're in the St. Joseph area, or outside of the St. Joseph calling area. My toll-free number is 866-364-0614. If I'm not available, my associate Tammy Gwynn will be happy to answer your questions.
We're out of time for this December edition of Western Reports. Be sure to watch us on Missouri Western Television every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday at 7 p.m. and Saturdays at 10 a.m. or online at missouriwestern.edu/imc/news. If you have any suggestions for our program, please email us at television@missouriwestern.edu. New programs air at the beginning of each month. I'm Mallory Edson. Thanks for watching.